stand with all those families and all those children who are injured right now and who are suffering through this big trauma. And now it is time that we unite, and I call upon the international community, leaders in Pakistan, all political parties and everyone, that we should stand up together and fight against terrorism, and we should make sure that every child gets safe and quality education.
Taliban terrorists tried to assassinate Malala Yousafzai in 2012 for sharing those same views. This time, she was speaking about an attack at a school in Peshawar, Pakistan, near the country's northern border with Afghanistan. On Tuesday, Taliban gunmen went into the school and killed at least 145 people. 10 were workers, 3 were soldiers, the rest of the victims were students. More than 100 others were injured. Pakistani security arrived about 15 minutes after the attack started. Officers eventually killed the 7 Taliban gunmen. They were members of the Islamic militant group and political group that used to control Afghanistan. The U.S.-led war kicked the Taliban out of power in 2001, but the group continues to terrorize the Middle East. Pakistan's defense minister says they won't succeed in their evil designs. The next report we have takes us from the Middle East to the West African nation of Sierra Leone. The World Health Organization says Sierra Leone now has the world's highest number of Ebola cases. To try to slow the spread, the nation's government is canceling large public holiday celebrations. For Christmas, New Year's, and Boxing Day, an after-Christmas gift exchange, public events aren't allowed this year in Sierra Leone. About 10% of people there are Christians. They can still celebrate with family and friends at home. A government official says people aren't sad about this, that something needs to be done to stop Ebola.
Time for the shout-out. What is the currency of Russia? You know what to do. Is it the euro, the rand, the ruble, or the rupee? You've got 3 seconds. Go! The ruble divisible by 100 kopecks is Russia's currency. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
We've got a couple of economic stories for you now. They center on the potential downsides of the drop in international oil prices. For example, take Russia. It's the world's 3rd largest producer of crude oil. So as oil prices sink, so can Russia's economy. As that happens, Russia's currency, the ruble, loses value. This is one part of inflation, another part being a rise in prices. It's becoming more expensive for Russians to buy goods, especially goods from other countries. Ford, Volkswagen, Adidas, Coca-Cola, they've all reported weaker sales in Russia. And because Russia's economy is closely tied with others in Europe, their major trading partners, it can drag them down.
Russia's economy, currency, and stock market are in tatters because of what's going on with oil prices. Russia recently raising interest rates to 17%, 17% from 10.5% to try and stop this massive slide in its currency, the ruble. It doesn't seem to be working just yet. Stocks still plunging, and it's not something that is going to be an easy fix for Vladimir Putin. That's because of what's going on with oil. Russia is a country that depends on the energy market for much of its lifeblood. As long as oil is plunging, it is very, very serious times for Russia right now. The lower value of the ruble could lead to rapid inflation in the country. That's never good news. And because Russia is so intertwined with Europe and other parts of the Western world, this is not an isolated event. This is bad news for the global economy. Many Western banks have lent money to Russia. If Russia's economy sinks further into the abyss, you could see some banks on the hook for some of those bad loans. So Russia, definitely a microcosm of what's plaguing the whole world right now. Oil prices plunging, sure, may be great news for some U.S. consumers, but it is not good news for the global economy.
One country that's seeing some benefits of this is the U.S. Spending less on gasoline could lead Americans to spend more on Christmas gifts or going out to dinner. That can help the economy. And companies won't have to pay as much to ship their products. So retail prices, specifically of food, have dropped a bit. But there are downsides here too.
You can now get gas below $2 a gallon in 13 states. Just 2 weeks ago, that number was 1. Now, the average consumer is feeling pretty good about this. Their wallet is just a bit thicker. But here's why it might cause some pain for the average American. First off, it introduces some more volatility into the stock market. That's because the raw material for gas, oil, is also falling. Countries around the world aren't using as much as producers originally anticipated. That's sending a signal that the global economy isn't as robust as originally thought. 2, U.S. oil companies have already started layoffs and cutting back projects. That's going to hit a major source of job growth in this country. Just to put it into context, from 2007 to 2012, employment across all U.S. industries dropped by 2.7%. During that same time period, employment in U.S. oil and gas rose by about 32%. And the fallout on state budgets could be especially bad in places like Texas, North Dakota, and Alaska. Still, it's pretty hard to get too down on low oil prices. After all, the U.S. consumer still makes up a major source of economic growth.
This roll call is rounding the globe from southwest Germany to southwest Alaska. We'll start in the German city of Wiesbaden. We've got some Wildcats watching there at Wiesbaden Middle School. We'll make a stop in the Midwestern U.S. state of Missouri. Hello to the Cardinals. Hello to Benton High School in St. Joseph. And in the Bering Sea on Nelson Island, it's great to see the coasters from Tununuk, Alaska. They're at Paul T. Albert Memorial School. Virtual college tours. I don't mean the kind you can see in online maps zooming into famous buildings. I mean the kind that looks like you're actually in the library, on the quad, in the lab. If you're considering out-of-state higher education and you can't afford a higher travel ticket, a virtual reality headset could be just the ticket.
Check out the ceiling, the paintings.
And so this is all exactly how it's like?
A college tour without even stepping outside.
So now I'm at a beautiful courtyard at Yale.
That's me wearing Oculus Rift. It's a virtual reality headset that made headlines after Facebook bought it for $2 billion earlier this year. Now a company called UVisit is using it for virtual college tours.
We have markers in these locations. You have a yellow marker to your left. So if you make it right in front of you, that will transfer you to the next location.
Right now, it's tracking my eye movements. I'm looking down to get a gallery of places I can visit, and anytime I want to go somewhere, I just look at it and I'm transported.
So I'm gonna go to the stadium because I don't want to get in the way of this young lady doing her homework.
It's virtual reality aimed at making college more of a reality.
Our mission from the day we started the company is making a campus visit more attainable to students.
Oculus isn't widely available yet, and even when it is, most people aren't going to have a $350 headset at home. But you could start seeing these devices at college fairs and recruitment events.
We're not replacing the actual visit. We're making the kids more excited about doing the actual visit.
So this is what it's like to either be a cheerleader, a football player, or in the band.
If you're not an athlete, this might be the closest you're going to come to the football field. We tested it out with some professional critics. Our intern goes to Syracuse.
This is the Carrier Dome at Syracuse University, and it actually feels like I'm back in the student section.
While this looks like a cool technology, the best way to experience a school and to know if this is the place where you want to study is to actually go and visit and meet the people, not just look at an empty dining hall in virtual reality.
But it does enable you to fly across the country from the Ivy Leagues to the Big Ten in the blink of an eye. Like any developing technology, it's a work in progress. After wearing the headset for 15 minutes, I was dizzy and ready to finish my college tours. Lori Siegel, CNN Money, New York.
It's the oldest excuse in the classroom. The dog ate my homework. No one even believes it. Unless your dog is Roscoe. He's a 5-year-old mutt, and he thought a sophomore's class project at a Texas high school looked good. Better than good. Delicious. Pieces were missing from the Middle Ages farm manor, and the dog was to blame. One trip to the emergency vet later, the dog was all right, but the project had to be rebuilt. Seems Roscoe eats all manner of things. His taste is all over the place. The project was dogged by delays, and we don't know if the dog's doctor's note fetched forgiveness of the teacher. It'd have to be vetted for sure, but at least the excuse had teeth. I'm Carl Azus. That eats up all our time on CNN Student News.